Hey there, folks. Jay here, First Direct Corp. I have yet another video demonstration for you. Today, we're going to be talking about reporting options in GoldMine. I had a customer that wanted to get a daily report of the GoldMine real-time activity report, completed activities report in GoldMine. So, as you can see here in my gold mine, I'm at my activity lists. So if you go to and then your activities list, under the closed activities, there's a real time option. And basically, what this does is it allows you to see uh, for a specific time period today, yesterday, this week the things that went on for that particular user or a number of users in real time, in a sense, hour by hour. Um, and so here in my activity list, you can see at 12:10 a.m. yesterday, I had an email come in. There was an email that was sent out at 6:30 a.m. I had an email come in at 7:16 a.m. And then I was sending emails out at 8:29, etc. So it's a real-time activity report. In this case, I'm looking at yesterday's activity. So this is what I did yesterday. And this customer wants to get this report emailed to himself and to the user that the report is. And in a sense, it's a way for him to, he wants to keep his end users kind of dialed in and aware of the fact that there is a report being generated. The owner of the company, the manager of the company, is aware of what things that user is doing, what activities they're doing, whether they're calling people or if there's a call being made and activities being completed, and they want to see that in real time. The other thing he wanted to do, and I'll show you here in a minute, is he wants to be able to identify where there's gaps of time, where there might be a gap of an hour or more between one activity and another. And I'll show you that here in a second, which isn't really easily or capable. We can't do that here in Goldmine in this activity list. Neither nor can we email this report automatically through Goldmine. So this is something you would physically have to go through and click on and and choose your options every day, and you'd have to switch it, for all users or an individual user. So it's a very manual thing in Goldmine. But he wanted this automated. He wanted it to be emailed, and so that's really where my presentation is at. As I've mentioned before, on several occasions, that we have here at First Direct written a web-based RESTful API, which allows us to access the data in the GoldMine database via the internet, via the web, in a web browser, if you will. Writing web applications and web interfaces and web integrations and web automations using this RESTful API. So what I want to show you now is a script that I wrote, to a program I wrote to basically duplicate that activity report, that real-time activity report in Goldmine, but now in a browser. So on my server in my office, I've got a script, and I'm basically saying, hey, I want to see user J. I want to, and at the end of this, I say, hey, the user I want to see is J. And if I switch this and say, hey, I want to see user Bob, and I hit return, it's going to go out and grab all of user Bob's activities, and there's all of Bob's activities, right? So I can switch this between different users just by changing the value in the URL bar up here to the different users for the report that I want. So here's J's. Now, this script is running on my server in my office. I'm actually here at my house, so I'm obviously accessing the data in the Goldmine database over the internet here at my home and being able to access this report. Now, I could bookmark this report. I could have this report listed, so every day I could launch this report. As a manager, I could create a web interface where somebody logs in and runs reports, right? There's all sorts of web things that could be done now with this report. But one of the things, again, this customer wanted to do is he wanted this to be sent as an email. So a secondary parameter that I can add, I've added to this script is that if send email is equal to yes. So when I launch this browser now, I want to have an email sent. So let me go show you my Outlook here. So in my Outlook, you'll notice I don't have any email in. I've got an email there, but I've got some other emails. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to launch this script. I'm going to reload this page now. I'm going to just go ahead and relaunch this. It's going to run this report in the browser. And one of the things that's happening in the background now is because I've said send em equals yes, is that it's now going to send an email. And I've just gotten an alert on my phone that an email has come in. So there's the email. If I open up this email, there you can see there is the report. It was emailed to me because the report is my report. If that was some other user, the script would say, hey, if the user is Bob, send the email to Bob if and CC me on it. So you'll notice over here, I'm sending it to myself and I'm CCing some other email account that I have. So I'm sending it to me and I'm CCing me. Ideally, if I was the manager, the CC would be going to the manager's email account, and the email would be going to the end user. Now, what you'll notice here is that in this report in the browser, or in this email, in this case, I've got some red highlights. And let me just close this and go back to the browser. So here we are now with the browser. You'll notice here on the first column, time since previous activity in hours and minutes. So here at 12:09 a.m. yesterday, which is 9 minutes after the first activity, at 12:09, I had an email come in. And then at 12:07, I'm sorry, yesterday at 6:28 a.m., which is almost 6 hours and 19 minutes later, ideally, that's when I first started my day. I had an email go out. So I sent out an email yesterday at around 6:30, and it was an email from a client about tracking time clock and activities. So I had an email go out. I responded to it, but that was 6 hours after my previous activity. Really not a big deal because I'm doing all this here, but the point is that this user, this customer, wants to be able to highlight where there's gaps of more than 1 hour. Here there's a 48-minute gap. Here there's an hour and 13-minute gap between the 7:16 and the 8:29 a.m. activity. Here I sent an email out at 8:50, but now it's almost an hour and 12 minutes later that I'm doing something else, right? That I'm either sending an email, getting an email, completing a call, receiving a call, right? He wants to identify where there's large gaps of productivity, and so that the customer is aware, the end user rather, that the GoldMine user in their system is aware that, hey, I'm getting this report. I see what you're doing. I know how productive you are. And ideally, he wants this report sent every day. So how do we do that? Right now, obviously, I'm just viewing this in the browser. This customer, this manager does not want to have to run this report manually. He can view it if he chooses, right? He can view this report, but now he wants to run this automatically every day. So what I've done, and what you can do, is I've using my Windows Task Scheduler on my computer, or it could be on his computer, it could be on the server, wherever you want to run this from. Ideally, we probably run this on the server itself, but I'm running this here on my computer. I've set up a Windows Task Scheduler, which is an awesome feature of Windows. And basically I can run it when I'm logged in. My trigger, I'm going to edit this, is I want to send this every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, right? So on Tuesday, send me the report for Monday. On Wednesday, send me the report for Tuesday. On Thursday, send me the report for Wednesday. On Friday, send me the report for Thursday. And on Saturday, send me the report for Friday. I'm doing that because on Monday, I want to see the report for Friday. So I'm sending it on Saturday because it's the report, the script I have is grabbing the previous day's activity. So I'm sending that email on a Saturday because it's for Friday's activities. But when I get I'll receive it when I come into the office on Monday, if that makes sense. So I'm doing the scheduling of this, getting the previous day's activities on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And ideally that email will be the previous day. So I'm really sending Mondays, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Fridays activities, if you get that. And I'm doing this at around 7:30 in the morning. So every morning at 7:30, go ahead and execute this report. Okay, great. So now under my actions, if you look under my actions, and if I edit this, what am I doing? Well, I'm launching a web browser. I'm literally going to launch Chrome and then go ahead and run that script with those parameters for the user and the sending of email. And if I have 5 users, I'm going to basically do 5 of these running tests, maybe one at 7:30, one at 7:40, one at 7:50 or 7:25, right? Maybe 2 or 3 different minutes after each other. So I'm not executing all that at one time. I might put that out at 5 different intervals. I have 5 users or 6 users or 8 users. I'd have 8 different scheduled tests to execute that program, that script in a browser. So if I'm doing this on the server, probably not ideal. But again, on the end user, on the manager's server, he would then come in the office and he would literally just see in his browser, he'd see all those reports on his computer every day at 7:30 in the morning, 8 o'clock. He'd have those reports viewable right on his browser. And of course, he could view it, he could cancel it, he'd get the email in his email, but that would be the way that would work. And just to kind of show that, I'll go ahead and run this. Boom, run it. You'll see here's my browser, launching my browser. Boom, there's the report. And then in my email here in a second or two, I'll probably get another email. And that is, there it is. There's that report. So I executed it again. So I'm getting the email again because I've executed it again. And that is without getting too deep into it, there's a script on my server that's talking to an API that's accessing the data to get the report. And this report is basically a SQL query, right? It's basically, if you look at GoldMine, I can go ahead and I can run a report here, and there's that report, right? So I'm executing a SQL query to get some data, and then I'm now accessing that query over the internet. It's all web based. But if you have a need, let's say you have a need for getting reports, right? If I can execute a query, any number of queries, there are any number of queries. I have hundreds of queries in my GoldMine. Get me all the customers in this, or if I want to get a printout of totals, right? I want to get a list of you know totals of things that people have done current month. Give me the counts, right? So this is going to give you 2 hour, 1 hour, right? These are all the different activities per user that they've done on the last month, on the date and time. So it's only the 8th. So here we are, 12, 8. We're 8 days into the month. These are all the certain, what we call time durations of activities that have been completed in a time. I can do summaries, which I don't believe that one's working. I haven't completed that one. But ideally, there's any number of queries that could be run to get you results of your data in GoldMine. And rather than running these reports, if you want them scheduled and sent to you automatically, this is an option that's available to you with a RESTful API for GoldMine and a web-based API, and scheduling tasks to execute those events on a recurring time, maybe once a week, once a month, once every day. You want to get a report sent to a specific user or a specific number of users. Any number of email accounts could be used. So that is today's demonstration. A quick overview on how to do scheduled, emailed Goldmine reports using this web-based RESTful API that we've written for Goldmine, and some custom scripts and programs written on for your server that are all web-based that can be accessed over via a web browser and sent over the internet, etc. If you have any questions, if you're interested in doing some sort of automated scheduled reporting via email, please give us a call here at First Direct. Thank you.